Just stop sitting in your house. You're not going to meet clients sitting in front of your computer. Take your mindset out of networking where you have to stand up and be like, my name's Bird and this is what I do. And here's my three fucking fun facts. Like that's the worst. If you're finding value out of being in that environment outside of travel, the travel business will come. If you are not visible in the group, it's not going to pay off. You get out of it what you put into it. Block off some time next week and say, hey, I'm going to spend 30 minutes just Googling some groups in my area, something that I like.
Close laptop, open your network, show up, lean in. The sooner you do it, the sooner you're going to be talking about the success in your travel business. Welcome to the Travel Agent Guide, the podcast pulling back the curtain on what it really takes to be a travel agent. We're talking real life, the challenges, the wins, the money, the mistakes, and the growth. Whether you've been in the travel industry for years or are new to it, we're in this together, and you're exactly where you need to be. Guys, and welcome to today's episode of Travel Agent Guide. Of course, I have Bird Bergeron here with me today. We are going to talk about networking. So basically, the idea of today's episode is how we can close our laptop, get out from behind our computer, and open up your network to grow your business. By the end of this episode, my promise to you is simple. We'll have the confidence building in you starting so you can actually close your laptop, get out, get to some networking events, go to a luncheon, start playing some pickleball, do something fun that you love, and stop working on your business so much in the back end and get in front of people. All right, Bird, let's dive in. All right.
I'm excited about it. I've seen so many agents struggle to get leads. And I feel like the number one thing that I hear from agents that are saying, I really want to grow my business. I just don't have any leads. And then I ask them, how many times did you leave your house last week? And they say none.
None.
It's like, well,
yeah, that's what's going to happen. I think it's something I always talk about in coaching. It's the first thing any brand new advisor comes into the industry, understanding what networking is and how you can truly get out of your house. It's hard. I'm not gonna lie. I struggled with it for the first year and a half, 2 years until I finally felt comfortable to say, all right, I have to go meet 10 random women today and I'm gonna go talk at a luncheon and it's gonna be okay, Haley. It's hard. It's definitely hard unless you're used to it. It's not easy. It's very uncomfortable for some people. We're busy. We're, working from home. We're moms. We have our kids. And I think we continuously try to make excuses of why we don't or we can't do it and we don't have time to do it. But I'll tell you right now, that's not really an option. Right, Bird?
well, I'll tell you, I think I hear that all the time, that it's really hard. I don't have time for it. It's just unrealistic for me and my lifestyle. And I had a business coach one time that I just really love the way he framed it because it kind of took it out of like, I've got to go meet some randos to like the worst case scenario. I don't want to call it networking because it's not what we're talking about today. What we're talking about today is just meeting like-minded people and helping you make more friends. And this business coach really changed my whole mindset around it because he's like, literally the worst case scenario is you find new friends. Like that is the worst case scenario. That is not a problem, right? Yeah. I think we have, especially when you talk about today's society and there's so many issues with loneliness and isolation. It's like, just put yourself out into your community. And I don't want you to think today's episode is about joining a BNI group or doing networking in a more formalized manner. We'll talk about those things because I think you guys should have an understanding of all the tools in the tool belt. But that's not how I network, and that's not how I built my audience, and it's definitely not how I built my business. So I will tell you, there's a much better, easier, more fun path to go down.
And that's what we're going to dive into, and I'm excited to hear about it. So let's talk about your networking, Bird. How you just put yourself out there. You're not afraid anymore. You were always in something, talking to somebody, meeting someone. How do you get over that hump? How do you get over that fear of just going to do it?
I mean, I want to acknowledge the fact that I am an extrovert and there are many, many, many introverted people. You can absolutely be, and I actually think the most successful people in sales are introverted because sales requires you to listen, not talk. And too many extroverted people forget that, right? And they end up talking over their clients and they scramble the sales. So just because you're introverted does not mean this is not for you. But I think the main part in making this successful for you long term and not making excuses for it is simply the fact that you need to be in something that you like doing. So, for instance, one of the groups that I spent the most amount of time with in the last decade, sadly, I'm no longer part of them. We'll talk about that later, but I sat on the board of the junior league for a decade, and I really, really love the organization because it specifically served women and children, and it focused on startup nonprofits. I love working in that startup incubator kind of space. Doing it in the nonprofit sector was huge for me, and coming from just a really messed up childhood, I love the idea of me being able to step in and help other kids that were in my city. So it was great. And then side benefit of it all was I got a shit ton of referrals and clients out of it. But I never went into that thinking that that's what I wanted. And I think too many people go into it and they like leave a yoga class and they're like, I did exactly what you said. I showed up to the yoga class, I talked to three people, and no one asked me to book a trip. And it's like, bitch,
Yeah.
that's not how this is done.
Yeah. It is
Like,
a long game. It's not going to happen
yeah.
overnight by any
And you got
means.
to do things you love. Like
Yeah.
if it's not something you're really excited about, here's what's going to happen. You're going to claim that you're busy. Busy is not a real word. I really hate that we use it the way we do in 2026. It's you're not going to prioritize it. And if you don't prioritize getting out of your house, you're not going to do it because you don't want to do it. So you got to find something that you want to do. I think that's the most important fundamental piece.
Exactly. So, what do you say for people who are like, I just don't want to go be part of a junior business league? Like, I don't want to do it. How do we
So
convince them otherwise?
So I don't think that my path is everybody's path, right? So I
Yeah.
think it's more of what do you like to do? Are you a big reader? Join two or three different book clubs. Are you
Love
a
that.
big, like yoga's a real thing, workout classes are a real thing. I meet people in workout classes all the time. However, if you're the person that gets there 1 minute before it starts and leaves the second it ends, you're not going to meet anybody. If workout classes are going to be what you do to get out of your house, well, you need to show up 10 minutes early and you need to kind of linger at the end and just be like, oh man, what a great class, right? Hi, I'm Bird. So nice to meet you. Like, you have to be consistent in whatever the group is and you have to make space to make friends. If you are just doing the bare minimum and barely showing up and not talking at all and whatever the meaning is, that's going to be really hard as well.
Yeah. Nope, great points. I think you're absolutely right. It's you have to do something you love. I had my brother actually text me last week and he's like, Haley, I want to talk to you about networking because I hear you talking about it all the time. He's like, I just don't want to do it. And I'm like, well, here's the thing. If you don't want to do it, that's a problem you have to deal with yourself. You either have to want to do it to go do it or it's not going to happen. Right. And growing any business, you have to be willing to talk to people no matter where they are. I think a lot of people sometimes I hear like, oh yeah, I networked today. Like I spent some time on social media. Like I want people to understand that that is not networking, at least in my idea. Like, what do you feel about that, Bird?
No, it's a fair point to make. I think a lot of people get their social fix for the day from social media, and they're like, well, I commented on a bunch of posts and I did have a bunch of great conversations. And I don't think that's bad, but I know for a fact it's not the best way to create any type of deep, meaningful connection. So one of the things I would say is again, like I would want to throw that networking word out of the window. What we're talking about today is how can you make more connections? We're not saying your current best friend needs to no longer be your best friend. All I'm saying is you want to have some loose ties is the word I'm going to use. I stole it. Harvard Business Review did a fantastic report years ago, and it just was called The Strength of Loose Ties. And the idea behind it was it's not usually your best friend that builds your network or builds the right connections to grow your career. It's usually like your friend of a friend kind of people. People that are in your orb but you're not really best friends. Our idea today is how do we just grow your orb? People that are like, oh, yeah, I've heard of Ashley. Oh, yeah, I know a travel agent actually. Hold on, she's in my Rotary group. Whatever it is, it's more of that second layer of friends, if that makes sense. And all it really takes is one meaningful connection with somebody for you to stay in their orb for years. So that's kind of the idea today is how do I get out there and just make some meaningful connections, feel good about myself, feel good about who I am, and how do I get that conversation started? I think most people really struggle with hi, I'm X. Like that is really hard to open up the conversation with somebody. Do you agree? Like do you struggle with it?
I do. I feel like sometimes walking into the room, you truly never know what to expect. So you kind of build up that. you know, anxiety a little bit of, oh, what am I walking into? But the second you get in there and you finally say, like, hey, how's it go? You're like, why did I worry so much about this? This is silly. And what I try to remind everyone is odds are everybody else in that room felt the same way you did prior to getting there, right? So you're not the only one who's feeling uncomfortable unless you're Bird. Right, and then you're just, going for it. So I don't know, I think it's definitely just getting out there, go and do it. Lean into every network that you can. Now when we think of networking to gain business, what do you think about industry networking?
Well, let me back up for 1 second. I want to give you guys a line. If you walk into a room and you feel uncomfortable, there's one line that just endears you to everyone. Hi, I'm brand new here. Like
Yeah.
I would just walk up to a group of people and say, "Hey, I'm brand new. I've never been to one of these meetings. I've never been to one of these whatever it is. Can I chat with you guys?" Right? Like everybody, it's a sense of vulnerability right off the bat. And people love when you're vulnerable. And they immediately will
You're like, oh,
feel the
you can be
need to
my new
welcome you.
best friend, right? Yeah, come be my best friend, sit with
Like
us. Yeah.
who's gonna look over and be like, no, not interested. Like no one's gonna do that. So I think you should call the spade the spade. If there is anxiety behind you, say that. Say, hey, I'm brand new here and I don't know anybody. And just wait for them to respond. They're gonna be like, oh, come sit with us. Don't worry about it. Like very rarely in adulthood do you ever interact with the Mean Girls Club that existed in high school. But we are all walking around with these really deep scars of who those women were. And everybody's had their moments, don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but who those women are. And we believe that their maturity stopped then. And I think it's really something important for us to realize most people are out of that now. Once you hit your 40s, you don't give a shit anymore. Like, we're not worried about it. I'm not worried what you think. So you need to not worry what I think, and we can kind of just move on with life. So I think just using that vulnerability is actually a strength. I'm brand new here. I'm excited about learning more. How long have you been in the organization or whatever it looks like, right? And just let them jump in and let them wrap around you. People are friendly inherently.
Yes, very much so. I love that.
And if they're not, fuck them.
Exactly. This is an explicit episode, by the way, which I love.
Sorry.
No, I love it. All right. So I hear advisors tell me all the time, Haley, I went and did networking today. Be so proud of me. And then they show up to like an ASA group meeting. What are your thoughts on
In
that? Like,
industry.
as far as that type of networking goes in the industry, obviously it's so good for you and your business. Absolutely. But tell me your approach on that.
Oh, I'm a bit jaded, if I'm going to be honest, on in industry networking. Not that I don't think it's beneficial. I have some great friends in the industry, but the reality is I started my business in November of 2019 and didn't grow it to 20 million by industry networking. I did that from being engaged in my community. So what I will say is November of 2019, if you guys didn't remember what happened 4 or 5 months later, it wasn't a great time to start a travel agency. However, it gave me a really good moment to know exactly what I wanted out of the travel business. And then I had several years of building my business kind of, I had a solid 6 to 9 months behind the scenes where nobody was doing anything, where I built the foundation. And that was awesome. Like I was so excited. And then we really like end of 2020, we started selling again. 2021, we hit 2 million in sales, and 2022 and on, it started blooming. And I was seeing advisors posting in 2022 and 2023, oh, well, now that the world's finally back up again, and now that we can start selling again. And I'm like, what? Like, I've been doing this whole time. And I will say one of the things that I had learned from that is I wasn't able to do those industry networking, and I wasn't able to, I mean, I leaned on advisor Facebook groups a lot. Those are absolutely invaluable to answer questions and shoot you in the right direction. And the people that actively participate in answering questions, you're all heaven sent for sure. But the reality of, do you need the industry networking to be successful? No. Can it be helpful to have a BDM to lean on if something goes wrong? Yes. So here's what I'm really getting at. If it is not a busy, we don't use the word busy, but if it is a very, very packed week and you need to prioritize, I
Mhm.
don't believe the industry networking is the priority. I think the priority is, what have I done for my community today? Because the more you do for your community, the more your community will do for you.
I love that. What type of community things do you get involved in? Like in
Okay, so sit
Charlotte?
back right now and think in your head, like, what do you like to do? Are you like a sporty person? Are you very artsy? Are you into music? Whatever you're into, I think the real problem with like people feeling isolated or people struggling to feel happy as if it's a destination, that's not how it works, guys. But the struggle to get there is simply because we've let go of a lot of things we really like doing. Haley, you and I both have 3-year-olds. They're terrible humans sometimes. And it's really hard to be like, oh, yeah, Bird, I loved softball in college, but I'm not realistically going to join a softball league right now, like a rec league because I've got to take care of my 3-year-old. So I want to acknowledge that we're not all in the same life space to get to do things. I don't get to do things between 6 and 9 p.m. Period. Dot. My husband travels for work. I'm single momming it up during the week. It's whatever.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you can't not do anything, right? So the first thing I really, really want to get across is like knowing your passion and knowing what you're excited about, but then trying to leverage that. So I am obsessed with hiking. So when I ask a girlfriend to like go to lunch or get wine with me, I try to not ask for that. I ask them like, "Do you want to go for a walk? There's a trail, like there's a lot of trails in Charlotte. I'm very blessed with that." But to get to say like, "Let's go for a walk together" instead of "Let's go get wine." I sound like a Gen Zer, don't I? We're gonna take our peptides right after that. No. But really, I think it's something where it's like I get me out of it. I get to be in nature, and that's exciting to me. And I get to make the connection. So if there's a way where you can think of what is the thing I like to do. So let's go back to the softball example. Like lots of baseball games are during the day during the summer. Could you take off during the day and go with a girlfriend or go with a friend? I guess there's guy travel agents too. I forget that. Sorry, guys. Go with a group of friends and say like, hey, I want to get a group together and we're gonna go watch this baseball game in the middle of the day. Games at 1:30 on a Friday. I invited 20 people. This will be so fun. And you coordinate that, right?
Mhm.
So again, I want to step back. If your passion is not the cornerstone of it, this is not going to work for you. Just stop listening to the podcast. It's not worth it. If you are willing to say, I want to find happiness, I want to make more connections, and I want to grow my business, and I want to do it all at the same time, this is exactly what we're talking about here. So it's got to be something you like. And then you have to think, well, how can I dovetail what I like into how do I meet more people?
Love it.
Does that make
And
sense?
no, it does. Absolutely. And I think you're right. You need to really focus on connection, not conversion, right? You're going into this to build long-term relationships and the network around you. You're not going into it for a sale. So that's a different mindset to kind of have going into this. But you're right. If you don't want to get out of your house, if you don't want to go for a hike and there's nothing fun you find besides being behind your computer all day, then I'm not sure I'll know how to coach you, to be honest, right? You're gonna have to figure out what that is to get out and just
One of
go.
my favorite realtors. So realtors are the same as us. So if you're really struggling with this conversation, go find a realtor. There's a lot more of them than travel agents. Go find a realtor and ask them what they do for networking. They're going to have a laundry list of things
Yeah.
they do. But my favorite realtor always says like, so he eats lunch out every single day. And he's like, yeah, but all year it only adds up to like $2,000. It's not crazy expensive to do it, but it's like I eat lunch every day and I sit at the bar and I just talk to people around me. And I was like, but why do you do that every day? Like that takes up an hour and a half of your time every day. And he's like, because I never once met a client sitting in my living room.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a perfect way, right? Just go sit at a bar, have a lunch. I love that, right? So
Again, worst case scenario, you got a great lunch out of it. Who cares?
exactly. And you have your laptop and work, and it is what it is. All right. So I love that. So, Bert, my question for you out of all the years of networking and, just getting into random rooms, what is one opportunity that came from your networking that you never expected? Like one
Oh,
specific.
um, okay, so I'll use one that I'm dealing with right now that was really exciting, and it's actually an opportunity for someone else. Because again, remember those little kids I have? I don't get to jump on every opportunity, but it's one I'll have in the future. So, I joined. Okay, I'll take you guys back to the junior league, right? Remember, I spent a decade. Love the junior league. If you have one in your city, please join it. It's incredible. However, all their meetings are at 6 p.m. Remember that whole 6 to 9 p.m. problem I just spoke about? I have argued till I'm blue in the face with that organization. Like, if you truly support women, you will have meetings at different times. But it is what it is. So when I moved to Charlotte, I was like, I met with the junior league here. They're like, our meetings are at 6 p.m. I was like, it's not going to work. So instead, I still love nonprofit work. It's always been very important to me. So I try to dedicate around a day a week to nonprofit work. And what I found was our local Rotary group was actually really big and pretty influential in the city. And very active. So I was like, oh, Rotary could be it. They do lunchtime on Tuesdays. So Haley, if I never answer your call at noon on Tuesdays, I'm at Rotary. So I joined the Rotary group there. And I'll tell you, I didn't get as much business out of it as I thought I would have. So I've now been a member 2 years, and I'm just being transparent with you guys. Like, I go to every meeting, I sit on the board, I'm very active, and I have made some money. I pulled the numbers about a week ago, and we made 17 grand in commission off of it. Fine, but it's not the 50, 60, 80, 100 grand that I would want to make in 2 years off the group. So I was like, I didn't join it because of money, but okay, I'm making some money off of it, but it's not exploding. So I was like, is this the right choice? And I've kind of been, contemplating, do I want to keep investing this much time? And again, you have to remember, if it fills other needs, it's okay. But here's where I went wrong with this group. When I walked in the room, I should have noticed. When I first walked into the room in junior league, it was a bunch of people that looked like me and that were my age, that were excited about things that I loved. So the connections came very easy. When I walked into my local Rotary group, everybody was about the age of 60 to 70. No exaggeration. They'll admit it too. I'm the youngest by far in the group. It is 95% males, and it is at least 140% white. So, like, it's a bunch of old white dudes. Shocking that it's been harder for me to make connections in this group than it was in another. So I will be honest, at this point, I've been in the group not long enough that I am starting to find closer connections and starting to really understand. But if you're going to put in the effort, try to find someone that would be easier for you to connect with, especially if you're scared of this or you're nervous about this. I've seen that group run off a million different people. I think it's just because it's intimidating to walk into a group that's not like you. So I think that would be number one, is like, make sure it's a like-minded group. Have you ever had that situation?
I well, I love what you're saying. So you walked into this room and at first you were probably like, "Oh, I don't know if this is going to be for me," but you've already committed for like 2 years.
Okay, so I walked into the room and I said, well, these aren't going to be my new friends, but
Yeah.
these people look
And you
like they
kept
might be
showing up.
clients.
Yeah. You kept showing
Where
up.
so that was my initial mindset, is I wasn't doing it from the heart, and I think that's why it hasn't been as successful as I wanted it to. If I'm going to be very honest
Yeah.
with myself and hold up a mirror, I had been networking for so long that there was a separate end game to this particular venture. Had I gone in there saying I just want to do nonprofit work and make friends, that wouldn't have been the group I stayed in. So I think that authenticity piece is really staring me in the face right now, and really one of those where I'm like, ooh, had I done it different, it might be a different result at the end of the day. Okay, so I've got a couple of these like large nonprofit groups, but the areas where I think you're going to shine and you're going to find the most business coming out of them are when it's something that you're super excited about. I have found literally book clubs of 10 people that have been way more profitable in the long run than nonprofit groups of 200 people. So I don't think size is always the situation. Size can help. You don't want to have a group of just one, but you should do something. And then I like to take that to one more step. And then I'll shut up. The one last step that I would say is like, be part of the big group, but make the one-on-one connections.
Mhm.
So in junior league, I always made it a point to kind of just ask people, and I've been pretty good with it at Rotary too, is ask people to go to lunch outside of the normal meetings. Hey, you seem like someone that I would really get along with, and I'm really, love who you are. I want to get to know you better, however you want to word it, whatever that looks like. Or, they say something interesting in a conversation, be like, I'd love to hear more about that. Any chance you would go have lunch with me sometime? It's pulling the person out of the group. It's an instant connection. If you can find a way to do that to where you don't, and if lunch is too big of a commitment, grab coffee. Or because some people are like, well, Bird, I don't want to spend 2 grand on lunch every year. I hear you. Go grab coffee. It's a couple bucks. Don't go to Starbucks. If you're into wine, go grab wine. Whatever it is, just pull them out of the big group and pull them solo. So my networking today consists of doing one large group a week, and then I try to have at least 2 to 3 coffees slash lunches, whatever that looks like. So I'm
A
kind of
week.
recommitting a week. Yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive. Take
So
notes,
I'm like
everyone.
recommitting those smaller relationships as I have the big group. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think that is 100% the way you're going to get somebody to trust you, to fall in love with you and understand what you truly do. And that's how you're going to build your network right there. It's the smaller one-on-one, the four-person luncheons versus the 200-person networking group. I love that. That's awesome, Bird.
But when I tell people to grab lunch with 2 or 3 people a week, they run out of people in the first 3 to 4 weeks, right? They're like, well, I don't know anybody else I can grab to lunch. So the point of being in the 200-person nonprofit group is to have more people to ask to lunch. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it is. Because even if you only went to lunch with that person one time in a whole year, they still know you better and they still feel more connected to you. And humans innately, our human brain wants to help other humans. Societally, that's why we live in the cultures we live in, right? We live in groups because that's how our brains are wired. So, like, if you get to know somebody even a little bit and tell them about your business and whatever struggle you may be facing, they're going to want to help you.
That's amazing. So, walking into a group, how do you like formulate what you say? How do you come into it and just naturally talk about what you do without it being an elevator pitch right in your face? And how do you speak with just confidence and get the point across of what you do?
Yeah, so our industry is real, you guys, I don't think you understand how easy we have it. We could be selling real estate. Like it's so hard to turn a conversation to like, have you thought about selling your home recently? Like it's so hard to do. In travel, I think you have a couple of avenues here. You can always ask what someone does. I think it's the most vanilla way to approach it, but they will inevitably ask you what you do. I think if you're an independent contractor, you should be saying, I own a travel agency, even if you are working under somebody else. So, Haley, I'm thinking of like the travel birds and the ICs that work under the travel birds. I still encourage them to say, I own a travel agency. They don't need to say what the structure looks like. As an independent contractor, technically, you do own a travel agency, right? So I think that's the easiest way to do it. Some people feel the need to really follow up with their niche or to lean in with the niche. I think unless you have a very strong niche. So if you guys listened a couple episodes ago, we had Cam who only does Virgin Voyages. That man is incredible. Like, we'll absolutely turn down a Regent Seven Seas cruise. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Why would you do that? But his business is absolutely exploding right now. So he's doing it the right way. So if you have a really aggressive niche, yes. But if you're just like, I do Europe, but if somebody came to you with a $50,000 African safari, you're like, I'm gonna figure that out, then you probably shouldn't say I do Europe, right? You should probably say I own a travel agency. The other avenue is just simply asking people, like, so do you have any fun travel plans coming up? And get them talking about it. And then if you have a tip that you can share, share it. So say something along the lines of like, oh, when you're there, definitely try to find XYZ. I'm actually a travel agent. I love this stuff. That's all you have to
That's a
do.
perfect way to put it.
All you have to do. It's simply like planting the seed. It is not anything more. They will almost always ask questions about it. And if not, again, just keep bringing up owning a business, keep bringing up travel, and do it subtly. I have never once been in one of those meetings and been like, anyone here planning a vacation soon? Here's my card.
Yeah, don't do that.
No, we don't want to look like, car salesmen.
Exactly. That's the best way to do it. Just lean in. I love how you said, ask what travel plans are. And then they say, hey, I'm going to Iceland. That's amazing. I actually am a travel agent. I love talking about Iceland. I've been in that situation too, where I've definitely heard people bring up
I would throw
travel and it's a
out
perfect
the
in.
I would throw out the value as quick as you can. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I
No,
would
you're
throw out the
good.
value as quick as you can before you throw out I'm a travel agent. And I'm
Yeah,
only saying that so you can almost say like, okay, so we could use Iceland. Like, did you know in Iceland there are two tectonic plates that actually come together and you can scuba dive or snorkel if that's not your thing, but you can actually like snorkel in between the tectonic plates. It's super, super cool. I'm a travel agent. I'm sorry. I love talking about Iceland. That's like the
that's a
value
beautiful way to put
first,
it.
not the ask first, because it's not an ask, but it kind of is, right?
Yeah. And then you get in, did you use another travel agent? Do you and it becomes a conversation and they're a connection and they know that you're the go-to person now for travel questions. That's perfect. All right, so let's kind of dive into elevator pitch. I feel like this is something like if you ever go to a more structured event or a more structured luncheon, and sometimes the person hosting, you're like, okay, who let's round robin and let's all talk, let's do a quick elevator pitch. It's kind of like an icebreaker to get in, get to know people. The one thing that I've learned from you, Bird, about elevator pitch is we're not going to go into it and say, hey, I am a travel agent. You figure out what you're selling like mysteriously, right? So I collect great stories, right? So that's a way to approach it. What is your elevator pitch? Like if you were to give back an example.
So that's our company mission for the Travel Birds. So I own two travel agencies, Sava Travel and the Travel Birds. The Travel Birds, the way we've always said is we help people collect great stories. So I often use that tagline because people are like, tell me more. I love a great story, right? When I used to drink, it was always more of a fun that you could play off a whiskey story at that point too. So now I lean into like, well, the reality is we help you collect great memories all over the world, and then they're like, oh, so you're into travel? Yeah, we're a travel agency, right? It kind of evolves from there. I think one of the easiest ways is simply just saying, like, you can either play off the, like, I love to be research oriented and detail oriented, or you can play off the, like, I know things you don't. So, right,
Oh, I
like,
like
play off
that.
of this. Yeah, play off of this. I dig deep for knowledge about different countries all over the world every single day. Something along those lines is usually that fun one where people are like, I'm sorry, what? What do you use? What's your go-to here?
Yeah, it's just creating experiences that last a lifetime. Whatever comes out of my mouth in the moment, but I never come out and say I'm a travel agent. And then of course everybody asks like, well, what do you do? What are you creating for people? And then it evolves from there, the conversation. So yeah,
I
that's what
also think when I throw out travel agent, I almost always use the like, oh yeah, they still exist.
oh yeah, everybody's like, wait, travel agents still are around,
Call it
which
out.
I'll be honest, it still does irritate me a little bit. I'm like, yeah, they sure do. People don't get it, but some people do, right? So awesome. I think my next question for you, Bird, is obviously being authentic with people, but where do people find these groups? Like if I wanted to go find a junior league or a BNI group, of course, Google networking groups, what does that look like? What's the
Well,
best way for people to dive in?
I think we should talk about the normal true to business networking groups that every major city has. So every major city is going to have a BNI, a business networking institute. What does the I stand for? I think so. A BNI group is basically a group you commit to for 1 year. You pay to be a part of it. It's usually about $800 or $900. The group typically consists of about 10 people, and they can only have one person in each industry. You show up once a week and you give referrals. So you may have a realtor in there, a landscaper in there, an architect in there, whatever it is. And you show up and you're like, oh, my neighbor told me he needs a new patio. Here's my neighbor's information. And they say, oh, my friend told me they're going to Italy. Here's my friend's information. They're kind of high stakes. It's required to have referrals pretty consistently. I don't think it's the best way to do it, but those are in every single city. So if you want to give it a shot, give it a shot. Some people find a lot of success with it.
Are memberships pretty expensive for BNI?
About $800 to $900 is what I've been quoted in the
Okay.
past. So I think that's a pretty good ballpark, I would say. Chamber of Commerce, every big city and most little cities. I think people, okay, so I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. We, of course, have a Charlotte Chamber of Commerce, but I think people forget that if you live out in the suburbs, a lot of times the burbs also have like a separate Chamber of Commerce that can be sometimes a lot more powerful. We have one called Ballantyne that's about 20 minutes south of like the main city. And there are a ton of businesses in it. It's really tight. It's really good networking. So, I mean, there's things that you can do like that aren't the main chamber of commerce, but that one's going to be everywhere you go.
Yeah, there's
I'm
one
also,
there's one 6 miles from my house. And so
yeah,
they're
exactly.
everywhere. Yeah.
They're all over. And I'm also going to say there's a lot of times connected to the chamber, you'll find special interest groups. You'll find like a women's business owners or stuff like that. Again, if you're an independent contractor, you are a business owner. So go to Google and type in business owner networking if you want to. And you could find stuff that way as well. There's plenty of stuff. And if you're in a largish city, it doesn't have to be huge, but if you're in a city or close to one, you're going to have a ton of those networking type events. Meetup is kind of dying, but it's still out there and absolutely is a way to meet with people. What other things have you done, Haley? What else have we had on the list?
I think for my big networking group that I'm in, I actually found on social media. So
Okay.
I always, a lot when I'm in coaching calls, I always will have advisors. We sit there live time and we start just going to look up Facebook groups to see what type of, again, women networking groups. I lean into women networking groups. It's just how it works for me. And we sit here and just start doing some research and start pulling different groups that there are in the closest city to them or the biggest city and join it and go to the website and start doing some research to see what makes sense. If you're going into a group and you see like 140 people, it's probably not that active and you're not going to get much out of it. However, just do a little research on it. Maybe this 150 is similar to your group, Bird, right? And it's all women who get together once a week. And it's just a lot of research. But I think social media is a key tool to finding some pretty cool and unique networking groups. So, what we did from our business networking group, Boston Businesswomen, huge networking. The CEO of Boston Businesswomen, there's like 55,000 women in it. You can go in for
Wow.
free or, yeah, or you can get a membership. So I have a membership. It allows me to post into the website as I need to or into the Facebook group. And you can pay more as you go, right? If you want to pay the higher membership, you can. You can be featured in, certain newsletters and things like that. But there's luncheons that they always have available. So a calendar of events that are going on all the time. Every week there's something. They even have virtual events. They do have luncheons and usually in your chapter, so Central Mass or whatever that looks like for you. But you kind of have to dig. So some of the networking here in Central Mass for me is harder than it is towards Boston, and getting into Boston during the week is just it's rough. Like next week we have we're gonna go do top golf, right? So 10 of us get together, we're gonna go play some top golf and some repeat women that I know. But you just show up and get to know more people and it builds from there. And these women, they ever see a travel agent right away, they're sending referrals to me all the time. So, and I
I
like
will
some top
say,
golf.
I will say business owners, in my opinion, seem to be much more willing to support other business owners. It's like they know the struggle, right? And they're really excited to do it. But it is a matter of like other business owners tend to also be scatterbrained and they tend to want to bootstrap things. So they might not be the best clients, but they usually have great referrals.
Yeah.
It's kind of how I think of it.
It's exactly what it is. So it's all women entrepreneurs, right? And then from there, I connected with a couple wonderful women and leaned in, went to another random Fenway Park event. And from there, I loved it. And then we branched off into like a new networking group, right? So it's fun. You just have to be willing to get out there and talk and meet people and not be afraid to sit back and wait for the business to come to you. It's going to be hard if that's what you choose to do.
So, and I guess I want to really make sure that we're just highlighting it's not necessarily that you have to get out and talk about your business. It really is get out and make some kind of
Yeah.
connection. It's really hard if you're only willing to talk about surface level things. So I think it's a lot more important instead of like, hey, how are you doing? And then the typical American says, oh, just really busy. Like that conversation is worthless at the end of the day. That was wasted breath for and time for both of you. So instead, try to come up, and if you Google, there's 800 different things to say, but try to come up with a handful of like questions you feel comfortable asking people. If someone tells me it's been a hard week, I would say, "Oh yeah, what was it that you tackled? Tell me more about that." Just the simple say more is always a really good thing to rely on. If you can get the other person talking to you, they're going to feel more connected to you. So I don't want you to walk away from this podcast, join some nonprofit group, start going, and then like day one, get frustrated because you didn't get a lead. The lead is something that comes after 6, 9, 12 months of being in these groups and being consistent. And then the other thing that I really want to highlight is if you are not visible in the group, it's not going to pay off. You get out of it what you put into it. So the very second you have an opportunity to raise your hand and do something, join the board or head up a committee or whatever it looks like, you should be doing that. The more people that you're in front of and the more you help the group, the more they want to help you. It's a tit for tat. So, but
Yeah,
if you're
that's the
sitting
tip
here
you
telling me
give
you have no
me.
business, you should have plenty of time.
You've always told me if you lean into something, you might as well go all in and try to be part of the leadership and try to just put yourself out there to the full potential. So,
Yeah, why
I,
show up to every single lunchtime meeting for Rotary and not add the 1 extra hour a month to join the board. Like that doesn't make sense. It's like, no, just lean into it. Just give the 10% extra because that will typically get you a ton more return on your time.
Right. So I think that's exactly why new advisors coming into the industry, it's important to listen to this and understand if you start now, the conversation in 2 years that you're having is either going to be my business is doing great and I have referrals and it's growing. Or if you wait 2 years to do it, you're just going to put yourself back a couple years because it takes 12 months to 2 years to really grow.
It does for sure. And for all the moms out there that are like, and I'm specifically talking to women for a reason, all the moms out there that are like, I have a different full-time job, I'm trying to grow this, and I have kids. You can combine the situations. There is no reason these need to be separate. So number one, join your kid's school PTA, sponsor a booth, right? Like we had this cute little Christmas thing and they had these like photo ops and I was like, why don't we sell sponsorships to those? PS, I'd like to sponsor all three of them. So then we had a little sign like, welcome to the Candyland by the Travel Birds or whatever in front of each. You can do those things at every school wants money. If you offer it, they will find somewhere to put your name and logo somewhere. But if you show up to more and more of those events and they get to know, oh yeah, you're Layla's mom. Oh yeah, you're Layla's mom. All of a sudden, again, it's putting the time in. So you don't have to do something outside your kids and you don't have to do something necessarily outside your other job. When I first started, the majority of my clients were people I worked with. Like I was open with my boss about what I was doing. I was really excited about it. And because she loved and cared for me, she encouraged me to do it. And if you have a boss that doesn't encourage you to do something that makes you very happy, we should be evaluating that situation anyway.
Which is probably why they're here, right?
Right.
I mean, I agree. Bartending, it was a great way for me to have conversations, get in front of people, and I definitely brought being a travel advisor into bartending. With the kids though, Bird, I'll tell you with Jasper on this go around, I think it's going to be a lot different. I could not imagine 15 years ago being part of PTO, but I was young. So I don't know. I'm going to give it a go this year. Kindergarten starts in September, so wish me luck.
You'll be very proud of me, Haley. I had my application all filled out to do one of the VP roles on the PTA this year. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. I do not have that time. I am not going to do it. And I pulled back. And my husband was literally like, I would have beaten you. Like, that's not an option.
Imagine if, yeah, I mean, find a good role that you truly like and go all in on that one thing. So I think it was probably why she pulled back, Bird. You're doing a lot all the time, right?
It was also something where I was like, not now, like
Yeah.
it's a hell yes for me, but it's not a hell yes right now because we're so invested in making sure that Sava Travel is so supported and has a really good foundation under it. And we're growing so fast right now. Like that's the focus. But my kid's in kindergarten. I've got years. My oldest is in kindergarten, right? I've got years to run the PTA and I'll get there, but it's not, it was not this year. And I was glad to find that boundary because I am often somebody that struggles with that. So if you're hearing this and you're struggling with boundaries, like you do have to say no to things sometimes, and that's okay as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you sure do. I just said no to bartending for this summer, Bird, which usually I'm all about it. It's great. I find clients from it, but I said, you know what? I just don't have the time for it this year. So I just am not going to be able to do it. So
So proud of you. Look at
thank
us.
you. Thank you for coming along here.
Well, so
Awesome.
the last thing that I'll say about the networking aspect is again, take your mindset out of networking where you have to stand up and be like, my name's Bird and this is what I do and here's my three fucking fun facts. Like that's the worst. If you are at an event and you're genuinely not having a good time, leave that event. It's okay. You want to find something that you're having a great time at and you're excited about it and you're finding value about it that is not for your business. Because if you're finding value out of being in that environment outside of travel, the travel business will come. So I want you to leave this podcast and leave this time today thinking, what am I going to do for myself that will help me meet other people? That's all you need to think about. It should not be what's my elevator pitch? What am I going to say? How am I going to introduce people? How am I going to afford the yearly, a lot of them have yearly dues and that like, how am
Mhm.
I going to find people that I like to meet that will like me? That's what you should be
Find
thinking.
other people who want to meet new people too. That's all you have to
Yes.
do. Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. Any other final thoughts, Bird?
Just go do it. Just stop
Just
sitting
go.
in your
Yeah.
house. You're not going to meet clients sitting in front of your computer. I will also say block off time on the calendar to do it. As Haley said earlier, it takes a lot of research to find the right thing for you. So if it's not this week, block off some time next week and say, hey, I'm going to spend 30 minutes just Googling some groups in my area, something that I like. I'm going to spend some time with ChatGPT because all the things Bird mentioned today, none of those excite me. So I'm going to tell ChatGPT, here's all the things that do excite me, and I want to get out and meet more people. What kind of groups should I be looking for? And let it spit out some options for you, right? I don't think everyone's like me. So you got to find the thing that's for you, but that accomplishes the same thing. All I want to accomplish is I want to meet new people.
Or surround yourself by somebody like Bird, and then eventually you'll have no choice, right?
She'll just be like, here's some friends.
Yeah, this is what it is. I love it. No, that's great. I think great episode. So basically, everyone listening, close laptop, open your network, show up, lean in. The sooner you do it, the sooner you're going to be talking about the success in your travel business. So I wish you all luck. Please keep us posted. Go to our Facebook page, Travel Agent Guide. I would love for you to share some feedback on your networking. Let us know what you're doing. I would love to hear it. I would love to support you. So please do that.
Talk to y'all soon.
Bye.